Thank you, Deputy Speaker, and thank you to the speakers who've come before me, including the member for Hasluck. And the member for Hasluck sort of gives the game away when we stand here in MPIs like this to talk about serious topics, and you're goading the coalition to come up with a talking point or a call flute for an election. You've said, please, please mention nuclear, because you just can't wait, salivating for that to be used in an election campaign. Well, Australians expect better than that. They expect the government, you're not the opposition in waiting, maybe one day, but you're the government to be focusing on their needs. And energy isn't just one of those other niche areas. It is fundamental to our economy, and it is fundamental indeed to human life. The whole history and the heart of human progress has been linked to energy. Energy is key to wealth, health, nutrition, infrastructure, indeed life expectancy. And this idea that we can play politics with that key fundamental input to our society and productivity, the idea that we can play politics with that and see industries go, manufacturing industries go from this country overseas and import those back in and say we feel good about ourselves, well, shame on you. Shame on you for turning that serious debate into one of cute campaign politics. Because we need to improve productivity in this country. If we don't, there's only two other solutions: cut government spending, cut government programs, or raise taxes. That's the alternative. And if you want to raise productivity, there's three key levers. There's technology, and perhaps maybe from one member over here who had some knowledge of technology. That's not coming from this place, that's coming from the private sector. But then energy and industrial relations. And you've given up on productivity increasing on industrial relations. You've made it harder, you've made it worse. So we're left here with energy. We're left here with energy which flows through to every business, every small business, every household and every section of our economy. And speakers before me have noted that this isn't just about productivity in the economy, it's about households and how they're struggling right now with the cost of living. And energy bills, next to food and your mortgage, are some of the most expensive things that you can open an envelope for. That's why 120,000 people are on financial hardship arrangements with their energy retailer. 120,000 households. 120,000 households. In Victoria, in my home state, electricity bills have gone up to $275, up 20%, and that's better than many other states. So Labor has fallen short of its election commitments. And promises do matter. No one forced the Prime Minister or the then opposition to commit the promise of $275. And I note the interjections that, oh, by next year. That's not going to happen. You know that. We know that. That's not going to happen. Oh, if that makes you feel better, I will add that to the claim. So when we've had 40% increase in power bills across this nation, or 39% to be precise, you said, well, that's not our fault, that's the war in Ukraine. It's the war in Ukraine, it's not our fault. Yet that invasion occurred on the 24th of February 2022, and right up until the 18th of May, mere days before the election, that promise was maintained. If that was a factor, if that was the factor, not a factor, why did that promise get maintained months after the invasion started? But then you get some potential good news when the energy regulator says that in some areas there's a potential drop of 0.4 to 7.1, and champagne corks were popped. We heard it many times here in question time. Well, suddenly it's as if there's no more war in Ukraine. That's all on the government. That's the government. That is the government. So suddenly when there's good news, it's your fault. When it's bad news, it's someone else's fault. Yep. Well, newsflash, when you become the government, you're responsible for the good news and the bad news. You can't cherry-pick and just take the ones that are good. You must step up and be responsible. And I recall the Prime Minister, then opposition leader, saying that he would step up, he would take responsibility. We heard that again and again and again. Deputy Speaker, we're committed to this transition from a coal-based economy. We're committed to that. And it's not easy. It's not easy. But let's not pretend we're feeling good about ourselves to cover this nation in wires, to remove parks, green space, to scar our landscape, to ride roughshod over communities just to have industries imported from overseas. That's not helping the climate, our economy or families.